It is the month of love, but is your dating game up to par? Here to help us elevate your dating game is Nancy Uko with 5 steps that she's going to show us how to do this. Good morning, Nancy. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, all right, before we get into our 5 steps, let's do a little background on you because you know about upping the game in relationships because you are a family law attorney.
Yes.
And you're also a relationship coach.
Yes, yes. Well, after building a career on dissolving people's marriages, I couldn't just leave them like that.
So you decided to start doing some relation coaching.
Yes, yes. What I found is that after divorce, people just tend to jump right into the next relationship without taking the time they need to kind of heal themselves, and therefore they're destined to just keep repeating that same pattern of toxic behavior.
Yeah, and there's steps that you can take before you really get into that dating game. But also, if you are dating, it's about upping your game because you know, most people who are starting to date have probably been divorced or been in those relationships for a long time. Coming out of the pandemic, they realize that that's not the person for them anymore. So let's go with one of the tips right now. What do you have for us that we should start doing?
Yeah, the very first one is self-love. Obviously, we talk about it a lot and we think we know what it is, but really the ideal of who we're supposed to be with starts generating before we even start dating, from our parents to social media, our religions. And so once you get in the relationship and you find out, I should be happy, you know, I have the perfect mate, but that's not necessarily what you want. It's what society tells you should have, and that does lead to a lot of divorces.
All right, so when you're doing the self, you know, searching, I mean, what's some of the things you recommend them reading? You mentioned meditating, working out. What's some of the things you kind of like think was good for them?
The first thing I tell people is you have to shed everything that you ever felt you knew about love. You have to start with a blank canvas and just really get to know yourself and what it takes for you to be happy.
I like that. All right, step 2.
Step 2 is understanding your partner. So a lot of times we get in a relationship and it does not work out and we say they hurt us, they did these terrible things, and we internalize it and we take that into the next relationship. But what you have to do is understand that everybody's on their own journey. They're battling their own demons. So whatever they did to you may not even be about you at all. It may be something that they're going through. So if you understand not only that somebody did something to you, but why they did that, then you don't have to internalize that and take that into the next relationship.
Yeah, and is that sometimes where something that triggers you, just as a trigger in a way, that might be something that bothers you, that you see another person in your next relationship do, but it's really not them. It's just something that everybody does, but it triggers you, and you kind of like think that's how this relationship's going to go. Is that what happens sometimes?
Exactly. If you don't understand why the past person that you were with did what they did, then you carry that bitterness, that resentment, that anger, and so yeah, it's going to be a trigger moving forward.
So, okay, we gotta move quick. Number 3.
Number 3 is going to be divorce your victim. Yes. So a lot of us get in a relationship, and then when it doesn't work out, you get upset because you're like, I changed for you. I changed who I was. I made these sacrifices, and you expect the other person to do the same. And when they don't, you play this victim role.
Yeah.
And that carries over as well.
So you got to drop that and
drop
just
that.
realize.
That's one of the most important.
Yeah, and maybe you take a look and say, you know what, I changed for the better thanks to you. You didn't change, so I'm out the door.
Exactly. Yes, you have to start looking at your past relationships as growth opportunities and not as being a victim.
Got it. Okay, number 4.
Number 4 is going to be commit to yourself. So one of the biggest sacrifices, or I'm sorry, one of the biggest issues that people have in their relationships is that they tend to have a type. And when you step away from that, like with your list, I want them to be tall, I want them to be handsome, and you just commit to what makes you happy. Okay, now you have a list that says, I want somebody who's trustworthy, that makes me feel good, that is dependable. When you start committing to yourself instead of having a type, that's when you can start growing.
Yes, that's why you see these supermodels with some unsupermodel guys. So.
Yes.
All right, our last one, number 5.
It's going to be unconditional love. So realizing that you're in a relationship with your best friend. Whatever they do, you just want them to be happy in doing it. So don't give them conditions. You can be in a relationship with me if you do X, Y, and Z. Let them live their life, let them be happy, and if it works for you and it works for them, then there should be no issue.
There it is, right there. 5 easy ways to make sure that your dating game or even your relationship is going forward, which is nice. So, Nancy, how can people get a hold of you, not just for law, but for, of course, relationship coaching?
Definitely. If people are interested in elevating the way they date, they can find out more information at www.thehighfliers.com.
I like that. So, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
There you go. And we got information on aztv.com, of course, with everything you saw today and what Nancy's doing. So, all right, come on back. We got more Mixer after this.